Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So, it's a day. That day is Wednesday, December 12th. We have today CPI. CPI month over month. They're expecting 0. Previous month was 0.3. Cores, they're expecting 0.2. So this is because energy has just been on a big downturn. So that core number is really the one that's going to matter. The core PPI month over month was 0.3 versus an expected 0.1. So they continue to exceed expectations. But remember, last month, the CPI came out. It was a pretty big number and they didn't care. So now this market is much more sensitive to news, but I don't know how sensitive it's going to be to economic numbers. You can see on the DOM, very, very light. Not many people have stuff on. So yeah. Let's grab the links. There is an auction today too, isn't there? Let's see here. So there's the links. Here's your links. Put the chat there. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, morning. Okay. Treasurydirect.gov. Upcoming auctions. December 12th. 9-year, 11-month auction. Oh, okay. So it's a 10-year auction. Right. It's not on here for some reason. I need to, It's on there. It's just they're not showing it. Oh, no, wait. There it is right there. 10-year bond auction. Okay. So, really depends on the CPI data. This is going to be a tricky day because we got a bunch of conflicting factors. This whole debt fight thing that they're setting up for the end of the year would tend to move us down because that increases borrowing costs for government when government doesn't appear reliable. We have auction, that would tend to move us up. We have CPI, which if it's higher than expected like it was last month, would tend to move us down. We have the stock market, which has been buying. You know what? No, I don't care. Don't show me that anymore. The stock market has been on the upturn, so that would tend to go down, but it's been flipping around a lot, and that's been a huge factor. So reads could be difficult. Might see some conflict here. I think that it's best to try and be a little conservative here. But you can see not much on the DOM right now, so we're just gonna wait until the auction. And at I'm gonna say 10 o'clock Eastern time, have a little chit chat about the news. And yeah, morning. Well, already have lots of people watching today. How's it going? What is your long-term forecast on SPX and crude oil? Well, Crude oil is not my thing. So let me just say, I do not understand crude oil. There's your crude oil today, past few days. It has been moving up, and it does appear that OPEC is reducing output even as the US increases output. I think that the worst in oil is probably over, but like I said, not my thing. Um, so we'll see. The E-mini, the E-mini is a little unsure. We really need to get and hold above this 2700 area, but there is reason to believe that the market is trying to rebound. They're trying. We'll see if they are successful. But you really, if they can close above 2,700 like 2 days in a row, then we'd be in a really good spot. But right down here, you notice every day we've getting spikes, big spikes that reverse. High volatility of that nature is often a sign of a bottom. So you can see here, earlier in the year, for instance, gets super crazy down here. See on these wicks, sign of a bottom. They always kind of make it look bad, like, oh no, if we fail 2600, then it's gonna be the end of the world, and they break it through it, and then everything's fine. I do this all the time. So I'm not gonna say that the worst is over in ES, because there's still a lot of risks out there, but that's kind of the setup, I think. And then stuff my face, I have a little bit of food to eat here before the news.
Find out he's back around and also set to speak at the bottom of the hour. On 10 seconds, about 5 seconds.
So remember, it's the core number that we're listening for, and it's 0.2 is what the expectation is.
Okay, flat on the month-over-month headline. Core 0.2 as expected.
As
Headline
expected.
year-over-year 2.2%. 2.2 also for core year-over-year. Real weekly earnings then down 0.1% from up 0.3 expected. We take a look at the capacity utilization at 82.6 out of Canada, from 84.1 revised from 85.5. Just to recap then, headline CPI month-over-month comes in as expected at flat 0.3 last month. Year-over-year headline 2.2%. Core month-over-month up 0.2%, again as expected. 2.2 for the year-over-year, in line with forecasts. Real weekly earnings, though, the surprise down 0.1% from up 0.1% last month and 0.3% expected.
Okay. What chart time frame
Trading
is the best to
house
look
price
at?
index on the month fell by 0.3% after falling by 0.4 last month. Year over year, 3.1 versus 2.8.
So, what time frame is best to look at depends on what kind of strategy you're trading. If you're day trading using a swing strategy, it would be very important to have a 30-minute chart up. In fact, I have a 30-minute chart up
Global
anyways.
says any change of
Yeah.
leadership in Britain would not automatically trigger credit rating cuts. Economic impact of hard Brexit likely to have negative impact on the UK rating.
Now, if you're
S&P.
scalping like me, I would take a look at charts that are not time based. Volume charts are really good. I like to use these one range charts in the bonds because they really give you an idea of actual movement. It only makes a candle when it moved, and I can see every move. In the E-mini, I use 1,000 tick chart. But when you're talking about such a small time frame, you get a lot of time periods where nothing happens and it's not really significant. You don't need to chart that. So I would look at non-time frame charts. A lot of people like those Renko charts. Those are interesting. I don't really use that, but if I was trading the E-mini, that might be a thing. Yeah, well, so the news came in line. There was a bit of selling afterwards, but they appear to have held price. So, no trade for me. One, if they get back up to like this 12.5, I might take another look at it. But probably what the E-mini does from here on out is going to be more predictive. Now I do see you there in on Twitch, Mike. I don't check the comments on Twitch as much because most of my viewers are on YouTube, but I do eventually get to it. So if you're still watching, hello. Yeah, this is a very, very lame market.
Just to note, Beijing news. The Chinese, the Canadian ex-diplomat that's being held in James, and he's being probed over national security case. former Canadian.
John telling me an interesting chart for the E-mini is a 12 range footprint. Yeah, that that would actually is a really good idea because I've been using what was I using? It was like a no, I was using 8 and 16, but having it just a little bit offset might be a little bit better. If you do swings, and that can be kind of weird. I'm wondering, can you by the way, John, can you resend me that indicator because I know you changed a couple of things. You resend it because as long as
Nothing in needs to be speak. Sensationalism. U.S. Government news now. GOP Senator Kennedy expects a partial government shutdown. Comes threats yesterday. Shut down government if he doesn't get the money he wants. The wall.
there's going to be a shutdown. So I want to do like have a daily discussion about a controversial news topic, but we'll do that at 10 o'clock Eastern time. And that's what we're going to talk about because I have things to say about that. Because that news conference yesterday was crazy. And I think that there's a lot of things to that are relevant to trading. Relevant to trading for sure. So no, that's interesting. If Restream can show me all of the chats, ooh, I like that. That's interesting. This says it's not, the YouTube feed is having trouble. The Twitch stream is a little better. It's just a little bit faster, I think. It's what the people were telling me last time. But nobody watches on Twitch for some reason. Well, we had a couple there for a second, but now we only have one. We had 4. Somebody said hi, and I think that they left before I noticed. What? No, I just got rid of that notification. Thank you. Ah, yes. I hope that gets rid of it. So I'm trying something new here out. But I need somebody. Oh, so I see Wrong said hi in YouTube. Is not. What was that? Ah, now I see it. Okay, so the Restream.io chat works, but it's a little slow. It's a little slow. Okay, so there's this other thing called Chatty. Let's look that up. Oh, I see. It's like IRC. Well, that's a little bit more complicated than I have the attention span to look up right now. I'm going to use the restream chat here. We'll see how delayed it is. So wrong said hi at, does it put in, and it doesn't, how do you see the time on it? I guess there's not a way to see what time people said something on YouTube chat. Hmm. I wish I could just make a sound, you know. Well, this should work. Let's see how this works. We'll try it and see if it's fast enough. I suspect that it's not though. I think that you guys say something in YouTube. I think it's like 30 seconds before Restream.io picks it up. Well, that big order down there has been there for a while. Kind of getting that thing where it really looks like the 30-year wants to move up, you know? Are getting a little bit of spreading, but not like super significant. We're actually kind of at a spot where you would expect the spread to flip a little bit. They're at the bottom of the range at a support area that has held many times.
Block sell.
Okay. Well, block sell makes me a little bit more interested in participating. I don't know. E-mini is moving up.
Brexit. Germany does not want backstop to take effect post partnership.
Okay. So yesterday they were saying, nope, we're not changing anything about the deal. But now they're saying, oh, no, we don't want it to take, the backstop shouldn't be a forever thing. I don't know. Kind of fishy. Hmm. So Restream.io is having trouble connecting to the 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 Twitch,
Hearing that.
so it doesn't help.
Broker out there is
It sucks.
suggesting headcount cuts. It's days of brokerage, price cuts to the company.
Ten half. Some of these numbers on here probably aren't really very relevant anymore, and I should just remove them. But I'm not gonna bother unless there's a reason to put something else on there. Okay, so they ticked up, and that size it was at 11 pulled, about 3,000 pulled, and more like 2,500 pulled. Hmm. You are seeing there is a little bit of volume on the liquidity on the 5-year. Like they're kind of indicating maybe a sell here, but then the overall book is still says buy.
Wall Street Journal, just something that's been out this range to increase foreign companies. Wall Street Journal says to increase access. One of the things they have said it before, but it's China prepared to increase access for doing the rounds on the wires at the moment. It's China working to replace its Made in China 2025 plan. China working to replace its Made in China 2025 plan.
There. Do it like that. Okay, well they moved down on that one. And they stacked some liquidity behind it, but we're at a bad risk reward area now. That was a good move down. Did any of you guys take a trade on that? Alligator is typing. Did you take that one? Yeah, look at that. Okay, so an iceberg at 9, and at the low of the day. Ooh. So the E-mini liked that, and it's pushing us down.
And it's a 2025 plan that plays down its bid to dominate manufacturing. Wall Street Journal.
Okay, so they took 18.5 and they're stacking quite a bit at 09. This looks like a pretty good level break setup if we can get filled.
Yeah, Wall Street broke this story yesterday, considering made in China. My plan is now being by unless we're seeing further gains coming through for US futures, cash open, just from that.
Okay, that's what I wanted. That is exactly how I want that to play out.
Germany is ready to engage on future EU ties, says a government official.
Good deal.
Editor of BBC says UK Prime Minister May will tell lawmakers she will fight next election.
She's giving up. Is that what that means? Does that mean that she's not, that she will just let somebody else come in? It's going to get interesting in the UK, guys. They have another election. Who's it going to be? You're going to get Farage in there? Okay. Wow. Okay. So some profit taking there at 07.5.
German government officials says longer transition period after Brexit can face a backstop.
I think I want this level right here. If I can get it. That's a lot of selling, boys. Not staying though. Not staying. Okay. May have already waited too long. Usually when they have a break and they hit an area like that, they'll go through it for a few ticks. Yeah, there you go. But that was an unusually high amount at 707.5. Okay, well, I don't know. Might go through. I mean, I always want to be in. Like, I always want to keep going in. Or keep. I always want to stay in, rather. That's what I meant to say. But they're getting. Yeah. They're getting some pushback here for sure.
Government official says no consensus in EU over imposing new sanctions on Russia due to its sanctions as of. To Canada now, and more no finance minister. The pace of economic change is now much more significant.
And of course, the OA half just straight up pulls. So OA half was where the level break was, but you probably there's a possibility that it could come all the way back to O9 half. You see that big absorption there? Well, that was pulling really actually.
Canada finance minister. Canada's federal fiscal situation is.
Hmm. Looks like a major reversal. Upper time frames for short end. In my opinion, all the curves should follow in the next days. Well, they went to 085 and that was the most pullback that they got. So this is another potential level break because you're seeing pretty big iceberg at 07.5. So it's any time that you're at the low of the day or by some big liquidity and you see some big absorption on the other side of the trend, that's your level break setup. And on a trend day, you will see that happen over and over again, and it will work every time. This one I'm a little unsure about. Just, I don't know, something about the context of it seems not quite right. And none.
EU leaders, a draft conclusion, EU endorse use of Eurozone bailout fund, backstop, bank resolution fund in emergencies. Draft conclusion. EU leaders will also call for progress on completing banking union. Do not expect mention to guarantee scheme. Leaders will ask Eurozone finance ministers to work further on the plan of Eurozone budget. Also, Eurozone budget is set to be urgent, not mention stabilisation factor. Budget is to be part of an overall budget, size to be determined, says the draft document. Leaders to ask for a general approach to features Eurozone budget to be ready for June of.
I'm feeling that sleepiness coming on again. We need to do something about that. So this time frame is not the most positive for me, right? So it's like that 30 minutes before the E-mini opens up. And I'm wondering, I mean, the E-mini could come back a little bit here. I took that one because there was big absorption there. There was a big order there. There was big momentum coming down. That's a very promising level break setup. Now, after it's happened, you could take it short at 0.75 and see if it breaks, but I'm not as sure. So the risk reward doesn't make sense, and the probability isn't high enough to overcome that. So I'm going to sit on it. Even though I really want to. And I think going short sounds like really nice right now, guys. Now, something that's interesting is that on my Vista chart, the overall level 2 still appears blue. Because you've got those huge orders below us. It's still blue. Oh, look at that. They ticked up. Now it's kind of going back and forth. So not unusual to have to form like a really long, to form a range here and just mess around with it for a long time and make me feel all FOMO, like, oh, the move's gonna happen, I gotta get in. And then they go right, then they'll blow it right up to 9.5. And then I'll want to go short again.
No, they're
That's good. China's being nice. Let's reward them for it, guys. Oh, I finally took 07.
Coincidence official regarding May's visit to EU later.
Okay, well, they traded through 07. It's unfinished, but that was not exactly the most convincing downtick, was it? And up again. Okay, but that liquidity at 08 is not really pulling very much. About 1,000 pulled, I think. Hmm. Still a decent amount of volume coming through here.
More Brexit news nice, reporting that telling MP.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Streets, how's it going? Now we can pull this up and see if it... Oh, no, I see it just showed it. I know. This restream chat would be great if it connected to the Twitch channel, which it's not doing. Let's try refreshing and see if it fixes it. It still shows 1 of 2. Initializing. And it never happens. Stopped. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Unfortunate. We just kind of have to have 3 chat windows up on the screen at a time. It's okay. It's working. I mean, it's working okay. Well, this is why I'm opening up myself to some new markets. Not much going on anymore in the T-Plex. I think they're going to move back up again, and they're going to try and expand the range. Where are we at in the E-mini? So that was a good run up, but they did not beat out yesterday's high. Okay, so they tried buying into '08 quite aggressively, I might add. It's not going through. I don't know about that one. Hmm. It's just hard for me because I want to be short, but the situation doesn't justify it, and it may break. It may break without me, and I'll be super sad about it. But
More comments from an EU official.
okay. See, that '08 pulls a little bit too easy, and then when they trade into it, there's always an iceberg there. I don't know if they're going to get through it. I kind of feel like this range is too tight, but I mean, come on.
From that EU official, any Brexit reassurances?
I'm not quite sure what that means. Okay. So a couple buying it at 07.5 now that might equalize things for it to push up a little bit. Ugh, I'm gonna fall asleep, guys. We need Donald to come in and tweet here. Tell us more about all of the things that Democrats waste money on. That would be fun. Anything to make this a little bit more interesting. I see some of our equity traders sound really bullish. They think that this could just move up all day. Yawn. Like, is yawning contagious through the internet? You know what I mean? Because we don't really, I mean, I don't think that we completely understand what causes yawning, but part of it is a social aspect. So if you see me yawning, like you can actually see me, I turned off the camera, didn't I? Or turned the camera back on. If you see me yawn, does that make you want to yawn?
Declaration regarding break after the.
But I've also heard something that has to do with getting enough air or something like that. Yeah, I'm really yawning. Ugh. Oh, there's a tick up. That one's a little bit more promising than the last ones. You know, this move down actually, the total volume actually wasn't that great. It was like 25,000. That's not like huge. Like, if this is a trend day, there's way more lurking out there, right? If you see someone else yawn and then you yawn too, it's because one of you is sucking all of the oxygen out of the room. Yeah, right? This is like it has something. I know that's a joke, but my understanding is that that's kind of how it works. That it's like there's not enough oxygen in the room, so you yawn, and then everybody else starts yawning because they're also detecting it. Something weird like that. I don't know. So by the way, John, did you take a trade today? Because I know this is very weird action given that there's an auction today for the 10-year. But I don't think that it ever really got to a place where you would have bought it. Based on my understanding of how you trade, at least.
Equity news. Full comic. Evidence Apple breach.
Davey says he's been sitting on his hands since the CPI. And so I'm not quite sure what to make of the CPI because last month, I thought, yeah, nothing all that compelling in CPI. Last month, I thought, that the inflation was going to be greater than expected. And it was, but it was kind of like you saw it coming in the PPI, but not in the CPI. And the market didn't care, even though it wasn't in line with expectations. And I've seen that create huge moves. Last month, it didn't really create a move, and then so it was like, okay, well, let's see if this trend continues next month, and if the market reacts then. So now this month, their what is the word? Their estimates were pretty much right on. So that means that there's no real trade from it. But it was the data was still showing the same thing, that producers are getting squeezed by inflation. And so now what? Because it was like, oh well, let's wait for the next CPI, and then we got the next CPI, and I don't feel like that things are any more clear. They did end up trading '09. Oh, that's, and I have to say that it took a lot to coax them into buying it. So for the theory that we move up, expand the range, and there's going to be another flush lower, I'd say things look pretty good.
That
Starting to see people filter in for the E-mini to get going. How's it going, guys? Banana waffles. I really like those, what's the brand called? Like Kodiak cakes or whatever? And they make frozen waffles now. And they're good. I mean, they're still waffles, but like I feel like that there's more substance to them. And they make ones that are like dark chocolate. Oh my gosh, they're probably not healthy. I mean, it's like marketed as health food, but they're probably not healthy. But they're so good. Like I saw them, and I'm like, I have to take this home and try it. So to go home and try it.
Facts were Russia's
So I go home and try it, and the kids saw me, and so they all needed one too. And so we ate like the whole box right then and there. So then I had to go back and get more. These are from scratch. There you go. Oh, that's good. That's good stuff right there. Yeah. It's really like cereal. Cereal ruined us, man. Americans used to have the best breakfast before cereal came along. And you would always, the parent would always wake up early to make you food, right? And then cereal came along. And you can just pour the bowl and put milk in it, and then you're done. Even though that is definitely not enough food to get you going through the day, but lots of people do it. But I always try to have eggs. You know, I was doing some reading like the omegas that you get in eggs um, are really important and can help you with your reaction time. I always try and get eggs in. Well, that is a lot there at '09, but I don't think they're done yet. Sure enough, I ticked through it. No, nobody's hitting '09.5, but
Saying the see on
this whole thing is kind of uncertain because there's probably going to be some sellers going to try and come in here in the E-mini. Like, there's almost no way that they don't at least try. But given the price action, I think there's a really high possibility that we get above yesterday's high. Oh, I actually did see some buy signals at 25 and 27 in ZB. So you could have done that. I'm still thinking though, like this '09 half area might be, yeah, and the 031 to 0 in ZB. That might be trouble. The sellers might come back in there at that point. Yeah, you can already see that they're struggling to get through '09. There's too much profit taking, and there's too many icebergs sitting there. And the E-mini is about to open. Maybe they're not going to give us '09.5 based off of what I just saw there. They're buying it. Not getting a lot of volume here in the treasuries, considering. Lots of level 2 action, but not actually market orders coming through. Super tight range too in the E-mini. that they're trading across. Not even like what, 8 ticks? Deal. And probably should have held that, but look, see, it's going to trade back and forth a little bit. I think it might have had an opportunity there to get filled for another one. I mean, 493 went into 09 and it looked like that cleared it, but I'm not 100% sure. I wasn't necessarily looking for that. The E-mini's starting to look a little bit more positive, though. It's not coming up in cumulative delta yet, but they are kind of eyeing it, I think. Yeah, okay, but there's some volume there. Oh, I have. What's with this? Oh, so many bubbles in ES. Ooh, they took that 09 aggressively. Okay, so that's kind of back off from the one tick thing because this could flip. This could break that range either way. And the current trend is technically up, so I probably don't necessarily want to be shorting it either. Very interesting.
Government probably won't.
Okay. Well, 095 was kind of the price that I was looking at, but I'm not seeing enough of the confluence of things to really make me certain about it. mean, first of all, I'm not sure that I'd get filled right now at 0.95. But, they did kind of tick up through it, and I think they even ticked it into 10. Yeah, they did. So, and I'm not seeing enough of, like, the liquidity sitting on top to show that they really think that it's going to stop there. Nor do I see the E-mini giving me a clear indication that they're going to stop and move higher here or not, because they are kind of pushing it down. They are kind of pushing it down.
Sweden's.
Well, that price action is kind of showing us that maybe we were right, but not quite how I expected that to go. No. E-mini's pushing down and Treasury's not really moving yet. Mm. Oh, 0.95 looks like a lure again.
chairman, he said to him, plan to fix the bank with me. He said to one hands, changed to sanctions.
Let's see that pull.
Had a design.
I'm sitting in the queue like that, and it ticks away from me, and then it comes back. Almost always that they pull, and I find out that I'm still at the end of the queue. Okay. So we've got a 2-tick range in the middle of a 4-tick range now. Net selling on the E-mini, but price roughly holding. Okay.
Being a piece by
Okay. That should be good to read. Hmm. So there's some minis selling. Buyer pushback. Looks like buyers are holding it. Not entirely sure. Certainly trying. There's quite a bit of selling there at 26.64.25. Yeah. Well. You kind of got a number of support zones here. Hard to know. Next step down. Next step down is at 56. Iceberg here. Right. Okay.
Proposal.
Hmm. I mean, that headline sounded kind of scary, but the market doesn't seem to care about it. Hmm. Maybe should have tried 9.5 that time instead of 9. Things still look positive to me though in the E-mini. Hmm. Well, that sucks.
Gordon Rayner sing. Bank. Telegraph. Deutsche.
Oh, I really screwed myself over on that. Keeping staying in it. Okay. Buying in the E-mini is actually looking pretty good now. They'd have to get above 67, of course, but you know, I should have noticed that the open is at 11. That would have given me better risk if I had noticed that. I had waited, I could actually be break even right now and maybe even plus taking some out of it. Come on, you got this. See, look at that. There's no problem. Just keep buying it. Lots of dancing around here in the level 2. What a tease. Yes, has been being such a tease today. There you go. Josh says that he takes the blame for the E-mini being a tease today. So the problem here, the E-mini did break that high, just barely. But we didn't see a flush in cumulative deltas, so we didn't get the stops up there. And the E-minis are still taking a step up, so it doesn't mean it's over, but I don't think that that was a good sign.
Keeping an eye.
Okay. Well, that sucks. All that work down the drain, guys. Really should have managed that better. Especially since when I took it, we were kind of really only looking for it to go for one. So I still seem to have a trouble of knowing when to take that one off. It's not even like the E-mini might not recover here and go and make the new high anyways. It's just... But it was just like totally the wrong price. So kind of bad all around.
German finance.
Why you do this? Why you doing this? I can know that you're going to go and make a new hypo. What are you waiting for? So there it is. Okay. Hmm. So that was a good run and it came back awfully fast. See that? Hmm. I'm kind of getting the impression that the traders in the E-mini just aren't as bullish as we thought. Yeah. So here they are again. Buying. Wow, did they really not? It'd probably be another push. Yeah, whatever. The level 2 is playing with us now. Okay. I had to be patient for that one, but it's finally going. It looks really positive in the E-mini now. I don't know if that's enough to make it to a new high, but now remember the problem is that last time we had an order at 08 half and it didn't get filled. So keep going, there's some liquidity above you. Don't you want to go and get that? Doesn't that 26.75 look juicy? Come on, go get that. Go get that big order.
Conservative.
It was 404 there for a second. Like you've got to take that. You can't let them put a number like that up there and not go and get it. And the delta is coming up now, but there's a lot of delta to go from the open and when they actually made that, like way early in the session. That was at 7 o'clock.
Says this.
Boom! There we go. There you go. See, wasn't that nice? Ooh, look, they're going for it. They're going for it. Now that they've traded through 085, oh, they're playing that little game like, oh, we're not quite gonna do it, because they came like a tick short, didn't they? Yeah. See, I'm kind of seeing like I could see that the E-mini was going up, and there is some correlation going on there, but it it does not look to me like treasuries really want um to go. You know, they're not doing this of their own free will per se. That's why they're sitting here. This was kind of the support from before that we had trouble with. It was a fairly strong downtrend though. There is a big order up above us. I think that the E-mini is eventually going to go and take it, but I thought so. See, they're kind of ranging here now, so that is an indication that they are going to make another push. It had come out this strong and it was kind of peaking really fast, like it did when we tested the high before. It beat something different, but you can have that. You can do that in the E-mini, or sorry, treasuries all the time. Yeah, let's take it. Okay. So we made it back, basically. The treasuries can do that all the time, where you'll come down to the low, and it sits there forever. But that's not very common in the E-mini. Impossible. I still think the E-mini is going to break a new high. It's just I'm concerned that of the way that treasuries are working here. Plus, we were going to have a little chat, I think. Let's turn this on. Let's set this up. So how do I want to do this? I think I'm gonna come in here. I don't want this guy to interrupt me. And I think I'll record a new clip. Oh, it doesn't want to let me do it. Okay, well we'll have to cut it out. But did you guys watch this thing with Donald Trump and the Democrat leaders yesterday, Nancy Pelosi and Schumer? Like, holy crap. That was really something else. And it's kind of funny because it's one of those things again where, like, if you go and you read the Donald, they were like overjoyed. Oh look, they're gonna make the new high. But they were overjoyed about it. They were really, really happy. And the Democrats were really, really happy too. And they thought that it made Donald Trump look really, really bad. And they thought that him owning any potential shutdown was a really negative thing for him. And the Donald Trump supporters thought they were just happy that he was fighting for them, I guess. So it's kind of interesting, especially for trading, like, how's that going to turn out? Because for markets, that's not a good thing, right? The having this a government shutdown is never a good thing for markets. Markets don't like it, and it generally tends to increase the the bond yields, which means that we move down. But I think there's something that's going on here, and it's been going on ever since I started watching markets, and it's the politics of brinksmanship. You notice this pattern? So it'll be like there's a big bad thing that we can't allow to happen, like this. It's really bad if this thing happens, guys, right? The first one was the financial crisis, right? They said we need to bail banks out. They didn't bail them out, and they were right. Of course, we need to bail them out. They didn't do anything. So then they're like, okay, really, like, you see what happens. We really do need to bail some of these banks out. And when that happened, they introduced a bill, to give the banks money, right? The bailout bill, right? And at the time, there was another group of Republican senators that wanted a different bill. They had a bill that still bailed the banks out, but they didn't use taxpayer money. It was like they were going to raise the funds from the market. And they said that it was going to work. I don't know if it really would have actually worked, but they said it was going to work. But that bill was never debated, considered seriously, whatever. The bailout bill that got passed was held up as a do or die. You have to pass this, and if you don't, then the market's going to fall apart. And that is what I call the politics of brinksmanship. And they do it all the effing time now. Have you noticed this? Anytime that something happens, so like the next one was the Euro crisis. I think there was some before that, but the Euro crisis, all this mess in Italy and stuff, totally had all that brinksmanship. They've done it with the two past debt ceilings, although in those cases they kind of backed off. But how does it work? There's a big scary thing, and they present this big scary thing, and the purpose of the big scary thing is to get you to do the conventional thing. So the conventional thing would be to just increase the government debt. Yeah, that's really good. That looks really good. Move up, guys. I'm really happy about it. That it's to get you to do the conventional thing. Bail the banks out. Just do the easy thing, because it's scary. And when things get scary, that fight or flight response kind of comes in. And when it comes to large groups, we tend to choose the flight. But something interesting happened yesterday, because Schumer and Nancy Pelosi were standing there and saying, look, here's the big bad thing. The markets aren't going to like it. The voters aren't going to like it. You've got to do the big bad thing, or you've got to avoid the big bad thing. And what did Donald Trump say? I don't care. Do it. Do it. It's different. It's a big gamble. We'll see how it works out for him. JB, Deutsche Bank looks almost as bad as Lehman Brothers did back in 2008. It's, what's happening over in Deutsche Bank definitely seems to me to be pretty scary. But the financial system is way better than it was in 2008, right? Because back then we were kind of living under this assumption that, like, if something bad happened, we didn't need to do anything about it, and they would just go, and that's kind of what happened did. Now we have all sorts of backstops, like there is money and funds out there to just straight out bail banks out if they need it, and there's things to kind of limit the contagion. So I would say even though what's happening with Deutsche Bank is almost as bad as Lehman, the net effect on the economy is not as bad, I think. Let's hope. Now, the split side is the thing that always concerns me is the hedge funds. You know what I'm saying? Because that all that risk and contagion, whatever, it didn't. They didn't really get rid of it. I mean, there's a couple of products that were dumb that we don't really trade anymore. But the risk itself, the banks or investors making those kinds of plays and getting themselves over leveraged into something that they shouldn't still happens. We've seen that on this way down, like that those guys that had those options. Well, I forget the name of that options house, but he had a YouTube video up where he apologized to everybody because they were like selling puts, and then the market went lower and they got blown out. Like that's still out there, and I'm worried that in the next crisis, you're gonna get all of the hedge funds are gonna blow up, and it'll be like a contagion, just like that. Like so much money is being destroyed and coming out of the market that, like, how do you stop it? And it'll affect the dealers essentially. And what do you do at that point? Because you can't just go in and bail out one bank anymore. You have thousands of hedge funds instead that you have to bail out, and that's a big mess. And they had that similar kind of a mess in the 80s with the savings and loans companies, right? And they're like, how are we going to bail out all of these savings and loan companies? But it didn't end up being a problem because the government pretty much already owned all that stuff anyways. Well, what do you do when it's a hedge fund? That kind of scares me. Anyways, so with this politics of brinksmanship, that I continue to think, because they're doing the same thing in Europe, aren't they? Because there's this what is it that they want? They want an assurance that the backstop will not be permanent. Is that really a big ask? It doesn't seem like a huge ask to me. And yet, you heard it here on the Squawk. They keep coming in and saying, well, we're not going to do this, and this is the final thing, and you guys just have to deal with it, whatever. Why are they doing that? Because the big scary thing is Brexit itself. They're trying to scare the UK out of doing Brexit. The way that they do that is they show them Brexit and they make it as big and as ugly as possible, and then dare them to do it, right? And really, it should be the other way around. The UK should be saying, look, we're going to do the Brexit one way or another because our voters voted for it, and re-voting for it is not an option given the current politics. And I think that this may happen because they have a re-election, and then somebody like Nigel Farage or somebody like that comes out. Well, what is he going to do? He's just going to say, screw it, we'll do the hard Brexit. And now the big bag thing is the hard Brexit. And then you go back to the Europeans and you say, hey, look, you can give us a better deal, or we do a hard Brexit and throw the entire world economy into a tailspin. That's the politics of brinksmanship. My hope is that at some point, maybe it happens with this Donald Trump thing. Like, they shut down the government. How long can that go on for? Like a week? A month? 6 months? I mean, I don't think that Donald Trump would ever give in on something like that. I could be wrong. But what if he doesn't bend, and Democrats don't bend? The Republicans could keep the government shuttered for a long time if they wanted to, and that could really roil Washington, along with all the brinksmanship you're referring to in Washington, and we've got nothing but a global mess going on. Yeah. But after that, if it goes for 6 months, maybe then people sit back and say, you know what, maybe gambling with the economy like that is a bad idea. You know? Because the thing really should be like that it should never be allowed to get that far along. But they've learned that it's such effective leverage that they kind of almost have to use it. Well, I'm disappointed that Treasuries did not make a new low. Not a new low, but I did want to see like 7.5, and the best that we ever got was 8, 7.5. Maybe it kind of ticked into 7.5 a little bit, but I don't think that you would have gotten filled. So there was maybe one extra tick in that, but I think that I got out of that really well. Yeah. Now the other thing though that I find interesting is that, and I don't really think that this is the way that politics are or how I see it, but I know that it is the way that a lot of people do see it, and that is that everything is basically globalists versus nationalists. And you notice that globalists tend to be the ones that are using the big scary thing, right? You got to bail out the banks. You know, you got to Italy. You got to get your thing together. The UK shouldn't leave. We need to raise the debt ceiling, and the nationalists are always on the other side of it. And Donald Trump is doing exactly what they wanted him to do to go in there. They want him to go in and say, "Do it," because they're sick of getting pulled around by this sort of a thing. I mean, don't you get sick of it? I don't know what you guys hear, especially with you, JB. I don't know what you guys hear about it in Canada, but the news cycle lately. I mean, I love politics, and I used to read Politico every day, and I read every little thing that the politicians are saying, and I know almost all of them. But it's really exhausting as of late because it's like constant manufactured crises. You know, it's like it's a big deal and it's going to screw everybody over. But the truth of the matter is that we really didn't need to be in that situation, right? It wasn't like there was something inherent about the economy or the way that the law was set up or generational trends that created this controversy and things came to a head. No, it was somebody chose to make it happen so that they could get what they want. And it's frustrating. And they're even using it to try and, chase the president out of office. I just, like the whole Mueller thing, I don't know if he's guilty or not. We'll see if they actually charge him with anything. It kind of seems like they won't, but to me, it kind of looks like this is all a transparent effort to try and create a crisis, right? It's just that Donald Trump has never done the thing that was really required to make the crisis come to a head. They wanted him to fire the special counsel or stop it somehow. Like, they wanted it so bad, and he hasn't done it yet. Because then that would be the crisis that they would need. Yeah, so for this to have come down to 0.75, 0.8, and stop, and now we're moving back up again, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to take a trade, but I really wish I didn't take that 0.90. I would have had a +8 day, and it would have been amazing. But +4 is okay. But now I'm thinking, it's an auction day. We may just continue to move up. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, well, it is now 8:34. I hope that was a fun conversation. I think we want to. I would love for you guys to argue with me. You say something that you don't agree with, like let's work it out, because I know that not everything that is my impression is accurate. But that's the brinksmanship. That's the one thing it's been since I've been involved in markets and politics. That has been the theme that I see, and I just don't see it spoken about in public enough. But yeah, I'm gonna post my Bitcoin charts. Bitcoin did have a little bit of a move up to in this session, but I don't know. People going long again in the futures. See what happens. Oh, JB says it's too divisive to speak publicly about. Maybe, but why don't people ever sit down and say, hey, why is it always a crisis? You know, it's like it's too conspiracy theory. It's too out there. Even though I think it's 100% factual that they're doing this. They learned from the 2008 crisis that this works, and they've been utilizing it as a strategy. I just totally an intentional thing as far as I can tell. Now, why did garlic guy move it all the way? Okay, so today we get 73. Okay, so there's that's up. You should read The Shock Doctrine. Let me look that up. The Rise of Disaster Capitalism. Originally published 2007. Okay. I will add that to my list. Yeah, I have a hard time with that, but need to fix my Amazon account. Oh, see, somebody said hello. Oh, there we have. It's just showing up. Serenity SOV. Dude, you came in like at the wrong time because we're just about to shut it down. Should come in earlier. Starts early. I don't know, but see this restream chat. It's not. Doesn't work. Doesn't work because it doesn't show the Twitch. I should just use Chatly, and then it should give me like an immediate notification when somebody in Twitch says something. I'll have a good day. Yeah, I stream every day at 8:20 Eastern time is when I start. So we're always in, but you can always watch the videos. I'm not that interesting. But thank you for coming to the channel anyways. Yeah, have a good day. And I don't see any questions, so I guess that will just shut it down. So I will see you guys tomorrow.